What's the Maalouf sound? What's it?
I don't know if I'm the right person to introduce myself. I usually don't do it so well. But let's say that I play music that is a mix between different cultures, of course. My Lebanese culture and my Occidental life, because I've lived in France almost all my life. So I mix with a trumpet that my father invented. I mix Arabic traditional music with many other things that I enjoy listening to, like jazz and pop, rock, funk music, soul, and other music like Balkan music, Latin music, these kind of things. This is usually what I like to do with the trumpets, and I would say that I play trumpet, but I'm mostly more like a composer than a musician.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And why do you mixture these styles of music? Where does it come from?
I don't do it on purpose. I just have always composed since I was very, very young.
Mm-hmm.
I have a father who is a trumpet player and a mother who is a piano player. And at home, I used to take lessons, very strict lessons with my father every day. Since the age of 7 until the age of 14, I had lessons every day and almost 1 hour every day. It was very strict, very classical, traditional way to play trumpet, Occidental way and Arabic way also, both. But I was really studying it. And in the same time, I used to play piano just by myself with the piano of my mother, but she did not give me any lesson. Just I learned how to play piano by myself.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm in the same time autodidact. I don't know how you say this in English, autodidact, and also
self-taught.
Self-taught,
Yeah.
and in the same time, I studied with the very strict classical technical things.
Yeah, and which composers did you like in those days?
Many different composers. I would say that I have always preferred composing my own things, and get into my own bubble. I have always been more into this kind of way to see music than listening to other musics and get into other people's music. I've always been very selfish in terms of music. I've always been inside my little bubble. So of course I had some periods when I used to listen to other people's music, but it did not happen so much.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And your latest album, Wind, can we call it a jazz album? It's more jazz than your other records.
Yeah, compared to the three previous ones, it's definitely more jazz.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
and why?
At first, it was a commission from a place in Paris called Cinémathèque Française, which is like the library for cinema of France.
Yeah.
And they have a program.
A film museum.
For film. Yeah, it's not museum, it's more like Cinémathèque.
Mm-hmm.
So they have all the history of French cinema is there. And it's not only museum, it's also, they have a project to re-edit new versions of very old movies and these kind of things. And when they called me, they asked me to compose a music for a very old silent movie of René Clair of 1927.
La Proie du Vent.
La Proie du Vent. It's called La Proie du Vent, exactly. And it was his last silent movie, and then after this he did movies with sound. And they wanted me to compose the music for this new edition that was going to be edited, and put on TV and this kind of things. So they asked me, are you interested in this? And since I have always wanted to do music for cinema, I thought it would be the great first time for me to compose the music of a silent movie. So it's almost 1 hour of music, 1 hour something of music. And so they gave me the money of the commission. And instead of keeping it for me, I decided to produce the album of the music I composed. Mm-hmm. So I took the money and I asked some great musicians to play with me. I played them the music and they liked it. So we decided to record the album of this. And so the mood of the movie is, it's a black and white movie. It's very old. Plus, it was made in 1926 and it was released in 1927. And, Miles Davis is born in 1926 also. Mm-hmm. So it was very funny because it was made the same period he was born. And I was very much into Ascenseur pour l'échafaud. Yeah. It's the music of Miles for a movie.
It's this one.
Wonderful. So it's but this is basically it was one of my favorite music for many years.
Yeah.
Probably the best album in the world for me for when I was a bit younger.
Can you remember when you heard it for the first time?
Yeah,
How
of
old?
course. I was around 17.
Okay.
Yeah, and it's the first jazz album I've heard.
Ever?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
It's late.
Yeah, 17. It's very late.
Yeah.
I did not listen to jazz at all when I was young. We used to listen to classical music and to Arabic music. Mm-hmm. And when I was 8, I discovered pop music and I discovered Michael Jackson and I started listening to pop music and then I discovered hip hop and many other things, of course. But yeah, I discovered jazz very late actually, and I'm not at all into jazz culture. Basically, I love jazz. There are some albums I really enjoy listening to, but I'm not a jazz man. I don't think I am a jazz man. But
what's a jazz man then, and why?
That's a good question. I don't know.
In your opinion,
I don't know. I mean, it's a big débat. How do you say débat? Debate?
Yeah.
Can you say that?
Yeah. Discussion.
It's a big discussion, because you have the people who see jazz in a certain point of view, and some other people. Probably I belong to the other people who probably see jazz in a different way. But when I'm talking to you now, and I tell you that I'm not a jazz man, I'm talking, putting myself in the position that you might maybe have some picture of jazz, and I don't want to offend you by saying I'm a jazz man. And I know that jazz men they have a big culture of jazz, and they usually know bebop very well, and they know all the periods of jazz and all this kind of, they have culture. They know all the standard, what we call the standard, the classics,
the standards,
the standards of jazz, and I don't know those things.
But is it also that you don't like to label your own music?
No, I have nothing against it. I mean, I understand that people need to put an album in some place to find it when they want to buy it or when they want to, So I have no problem with this. I just don't have an answer to this question. When people say, is it jazz? It's not jazz. Usually what I say is, I don't know. Probably you have an idea about it. I have an idea, of course. I have my opinion about it, but I don't want to put it as this is what I am, I keep it for me. And I believe probably in 50 or 60 years, people will know, or they decide if this period was jazz or was not jazz. It's the same with what happened with bebop,
Yes.
A long time ago when the bebop arrived, even bebop people say this is not jazz, this is bebop. Yeah. And even like the big specialists of jazz at that moment, they used to say this is not jazz, this is bebop. Oh. And now everybody considers jazz as bebop, Yes. So, yeah.
But how did this masterpiece, I agree, how did it inspire you to create Wind? How does that work?
I wanted to, it's probably going to be the only time in my life I do this, but I wanted to do my own tribute to Miles Davis. The sound of Miles Davis has definitely changed my picture of trumpet. I did not like trumpet when I was young, even though I was playing with my father a lot and I studied it for many years with him. Even after, it took me probably 15 years of trumpet before liking it. And Miles Davis' sound, especially on this one and also on Kind of Blue, made me discover that trumpet can also be something else than this big, how do you say, very light sound and very brass kind of sound. It can also be soft. It can also sing like a voice, very soft. It can blow something very, very, very close to flute and soft flutes, and this is what I prefer usually in the trumpet sound. Yeah. And Miles Davis was the first trumpet sound I've heard. Of course, after this, I discovered many other trumpet players. Of course, Chet Baker, but many new, like recent ones, like John Hassel, for example, or Nils Peter Molva, or those kind of trumpet players. Yeah. I did not know that those people exist before. So Miles Davis was the first trumpet player I've heard that had a different sound, that was much closer to what I would like to have as a trumpet player, what kind of sound I want to have. Yeah. And doing Wind, it was some way to say thank you, and actually the album is dedicated to him. Yes. And I kind of copied him in the main color,
the sound color.
Yeah, the sound color. Even the instrumentation is the same. Mm-hmm. And
but about sound, you play on Wind. You play a quarter tone trumpet.
Yeah, I only play quarter tone trumpet. It's my it's this.
It's your trademark.
I don't know. It's my father's trademark, yes. And it was more a heritage for me. Mm. I mean, he gave it to me as a heritage. And when your father, when you grow up and your father tells you. Never lose this and never stop playing this, because this is the only thing I can give to you. So definitely you grow up with something like, okay, this I need to respect what my father gave to me, And after some time, when I started to really enjoy playing trumpet, I also enjoyed playing trumpet because I discovered that this quarter tone, this valve that allows me to do quarter tones, is definitely part of me and part of my culture. Yes. And if I don't use a trumpet with this, if I use a normal trumpet, a regular trumpet, there is a part of me that cannot be expressed. I don't know if you can say expressed. Yeah. Expressed. Yeah. So definitely, it now became a part of me and a part of my music, a very important part. Yeah. Even when I play blues, for example, I put quarter tones because in blues there is quarter tone. There are quarter tones in blues music. So when I play some other kind of music, also I can sometimes I like to put this kind of scale because it's part of my culture. It's part of my education. It's the only way I know how to. It's the only way I can express myself with all the colors of my identity. So I guess it's important to be able to express oneself with one's identity.
We at Radio 6, discovered you by Beirut.
Beirut, yeah.
Beirut.
It's in the last one.
Yes. It's in, what did you try to say in that piece? Very emotional piece.
I mean, usually that's some. I mean, this question, what did you want to say, or this kind of thing, I usually have no answer for this question because I never think about something specific when I compose music. It's it just gets here.
It's
and
just an expression of.
Yeah, and mostly it's things that I cannot say with words, and that's why I say it with music also. And
is it some kind of ode to the city Beirut?
Yeah, definitely. It's an ode. It's also kind of a tribute. I mean, homage, a tribute to the city that I really love, Beirut. And there is also a story. I mean, I composed it when I was very young, and I was working in this. I usually say this story in concerts because I like people to understand the music while we play it. To follow the thing and the story. And I composed it. I was something like 12 or 13 years old, and I was walking in the streets of Beirut for the first time after the civil war. So I discovered Beirut, and I was composing the melody. And at some point, at the end, there is some kind of hard rock at the end. Yeah. And this comes from the fact that at the end of my ballad in the streets, I was facing a terrible view. And I played my Walkman, and I was listening to Led Zeppelin. So after many years, I decided to play it and to redraw again, the same ballad with the melody that I was composing, and at the end to put the Led Zeppelin. So instead of putting the radio with Led Zeppelin, we played ourselves, and then we decided I decided to record it on an album.
And your childhood was in Beirut.
No, I lived only 1 or 2 years in Beirut only when I was baby, and right away we escaped.
Yes.
Yeah,
Right.
but I used to spend lots of time in Lebanon when I was very young. The lots of Lebanese people used to escape from the war for a few months, a few days, a few weeks, and then they did not know it will last so long. They thought it will be only a question
Yeah.
of
Yeah.
hours, maybe
Yeah.
not even days, just hours. It's the same is what's happening in Syria. When it started in Syria, everybody thought it was just a small battle and it was going to stop in a few days or few hours, and unfortunately, it's lasting for years now. And it's the same with Lebanon. It lasted for 17 years. And at the beginning, my parents did not know, like everybody. And the Lebanese people usually they used to, travel for a few days and then get back, and then travel for other days because it was still bombing, maybe sometimes few months, and then get back. And my parents did this too. And when I was young, we used to leave for a few months, and then get back, and then leave again, etc. And after few times like this, my father needed a job, so they needed to stop to get money so that we can live.
Yeah.
So they stopped in near Paris. He had a job in a conservatoire, like as a trumpet teacher, and he thought that we would probably stay there for 2 or 3 years maximum, and then we get back to Lebanon when it will be calm. But it lasted longer and longer. So we used to go in summer, 3 or 4 months, and then the war started again, and then we left. Usually in summer it was a bit calmer. So it was a bit calmer in summer. So then, and after a few years, we started to go to school with my sister, and we were 7, 8, 9 years old. We have all the people we knew there, and it was difficult to get back to Lebanon.
Yeah.
So my parents asked for the citizenship, and they decided to stay in France, and they got it, and we stayed.
Yes. And you experiment a lot.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah.
And with experiment come both success and failure. How do you cope with failure?
I don't know.
Does it bother you?
Yeah, of course. Of course, it's very important for me to feel that people enjoy my music. I know that there are some artists who would say, well, this is what I want to say, and I don't give a shit of what people think. In my case, it's not like this at all. In my case, I do music because I need to express some things, and when you say, when you express things, I don't know other people, but for me, it's important that people understand it, because I don't want to live alone by myself in my world. I want to live with other people. I want to have people around me and be happy, So,
but you said you are in your own bubble.
Yeah, but I'm in my bubble, but my bubble is in the middle of the world. It's not somewhere apart. It's right in the middle of the world. But when you need to compose, you need to have your bubble, because if you don't have a bubble, you're always going to copy some other people, and you're going to hear something. Oh, it's nice. I'm going to do the same. This kind of thing. I would like really my music to be something like that, where some music where you try things, not where you copy some other thing. Yeah. So Wind is the only album I have done where I'm influenced by something very strong. Yeah. It's the first time. Yeah. And all the other ones, it's very bubble kind of music. Wind is the first one that is like this, but maybe my bubble is starting to open, Maybe now I'm opening it a little bit. I was very much protecting myself at the beginning, and I was needing this. But now I'm more and more opening my bubble to other people. And I don't know, but I'm thinking about the failure thing. I was raised in a family where failure was not an option. It was not possible to say I'm wrong, or I'm failing, or the only thing you could say was am I doing the right thing? Maybe not. So let me try something else, But never. Oh, I don't know what to do. This did not exist in our family. So
was it hard or?
I don't know. I have always been raised like this. So, but for example, when I was studying classical trumpet and I wanted to follow my father's way, and he studied at Paris Conservatoire Supérieur. We call it Conservatoire National Supérieur de Musique de Paris. It's like the high level of classical music in France. Yeah. And he was a farmer in Lebanon. And he left Lebanon and he studied in the highest level in the world for classical music, So me as a spoiled young French Lebanese child, I couldn't, my father could not expect less than this. Yes. So I had to at least do this. And I did the conservatoire. I got there and I got the diplomas and I wanted to go further also. Mm-hmm. I wanted to show my father that I can go also further this. And so I did what we call international competitions. And I did several ones. And I had to win each one of them. And every time I was second or third, like we were like sometimes 100 or 150 from the whole world. Every time I was not the first, like I was second or third. Usually I used to talk to my father telling him, oh, look, I'm second. He was, why aren't you the first? And it was very difficult. He was very hard and strict with me. So I have always had
till
this...
nowadays.
Yeah, I mean, I don't even know what he thinks about my music. He doesn't even tell me. So
no?
Yeah, he doesn't talk about that. So it's he has been always very strict with me. It has always been very difficult, my contact with him, and I think that this was to answer your question about failing and failure. I think that I don't think I am strong. I don't think I'm somebody strong who never fails. I just think that I'm very flexible. Every time I have an option that is better than the one that probably is making me fail, I take it and I travel to another option. Yeah. And this is how usually I always manage to make things go quite fine and never really go down, Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, one thing I heard you playing a composition by Serge Gainsbourg, Requiem pour un con.
Yeah.
Is that the new Ibrahim Maalouf sound?
Actually, it's quite old. You know? Yeah. It's something. It's in a program, a TV program. They asked me to play a song.
Yeah, it's on YouTube.
Yeah, and I like really much. We were talking about this with my guitar player in the train while coming to here. Serge Gainsbourg's music are great. Yes. There are some really, really wonderful things. So, and I'm actually planning to... It's funny that you're asking me this because there's something I haven't said to anybody except François, the guitar player. And I said it like maybe 1 hour ago. So nobody knows about this, but I'm planning to play a Serge Gainsbourg song in my wind tour. Yeah, it's funny.
Which one?
I'm not going to say that, but I keep it as a secret.
Do you going to play it
as
now?
a secret? No, we're not playing it now. But